Interacting people. All right. So the first thing when you think about fundraising, I've talked to so many groups about fundraising, whether it be LGBT kind of groups or just clubs I work with or guest lecturing at UGA or wherever it might be, and they always say, we want to raise money, and I say, why? And they say, we need money, and I say, why? Because we do. Well, that's not enough. If you are going to be fundraising, you need to know specifically why you need your money. It's not enough to say because. Right? Because the people who are going to give you that money want to know specifically what you need it for. So if you are doing a fundraiser for your general operating budget of your GSA, right? Meaning you're not doing it for something specific. You want it for your general budget. Tell people, but my general budget pays for pizza and meetings, name tags, posters. You know, it might pay for markers. It might pay for T-shirts. Does that make sense? So it's okay to raise for a general fund, but you've got to go the next step and say, and that general fund is used for X. There are other times you might fundraise for a specific event. You might say, I am raising money for a dance. Right? And you know that anything you raise is going toward that end. All right? For the dance. Why do you want to have a dance? What is the outcome you hope to have from the dance? Does that make sense? Because if I'm going to give you my money, I want to know why. Even if it's money for a quarter at a bake sale, someone might ask, why are you raising the money? What's it for? And everyone in your organization and your volunteers need to know the answer to that question. Because you never know when, even at a bake sale, which seems generic and like you don't need much information, right? Would you think you need much information at a bake sale? What if I come up, I want to buy a cupcake, and when I get to talking, I'm like, what does your group do? Like, why am I buying this cupcake from you? And then you say, oh, we do this kind of things. Oh, great, well, what are you raising money for today? Oh, we're raising money for a dance. Well, why are you raising money for a dance? What is the point of this dance? Is it just to have fun? No, we want to be able to honor our queer friends who don't feel comfortable going to prom because the policies don't let us dance together, blah, blah, blah. That might touch my heartstring, and I might give you a $20 bill. Does that make sense? But if I didn't know that story, and if you didn't know that story, and what the point was, you wouldn't get that money. So it's incredibly important to know. And it'll also impact which direction you go in. The second thing you need to know is how much money do you need? It makes me crazy when groups come to me and say, we need to raise money, but they don't tell me how much they need to raise. Know that. It's called a budget. Put a budget together. If you don't know how to put together a budget, get with your advisor, get with a parent, a loved one, somebody to help figure that out. It's not that difficult to put together a budget. You don't need down to pennies. But if you know you're going to, going back to general operating budget, look at last year. How much did they spend? Are you just going to replicate what the group did last year, or you want to do more? If you want to do more, what more? You want to do T-shirts? It is not hard to call a T-shirt vendor in your town and say, how much would 40 T-shirts be? Generally, by the way, T-shirts, you're going to figure $6 to $10 a pop. So let's go with the high number. Let's go with 10. How many do you want to buy? Put that in your budget. Right? So you're not getting down to pennies, but you're getting down to some idea. Because there again, you might find a person in your community who's willing to give you that much money. So if you go to that person, they say, well, how much do you need? How much are you trying to raise? And you say, I don't know, I just need some. They might write you a check for $20. If you say, I need $140, that's what I need to make this happen. They might say, oh, here's $140. Because a lot of people won't give money. This is something in my life, I give a lot of money to charities and to groups. And if they're not specific, I'm not giving it. I also am the fundraising chair for several nonprofits in my town. And so I know that if you don't know these answers, you don't get stuff. When do you need the money? How long do you have? What do you think the right answer to that is? A week or a long time? A long time. Plan ahead. Get together with your groups at the beginning of the year. Get together in the summer. What are our goals for this semester? Or what are our goals for this year? How much money do you think it's going to take to do that? Start then. Are there other options than money to make this thing happen? Y'all heard Ken this morning say that he figured out it cost about $75 a person for you all to be here today. Did y'all pay that?
Mm-mm.
It's amazing. When we started this summit 3 years ago, we started out of my kitchen, literally, in a meeting in my kitchen, and we all just wrote checks. It made it happen. And it's wonderful now that Agnes Scott gave us the space. So the team didn't have to go out and raise money for that this year. There was another option, a donation of space, right? Instead of money to rent the space. Make sense? So what are your options instead of raising money? And then what are your resources? What do you have on hand? For many of you, your biggest resource is your people, right? Because y'all probably have a lot of collateral already in play. But like what you have around you that will help. And so these are the very initial things you need to have before you fundraise. And remember BBS. Beg, borrow, and steal. Don't be ashamed. This is something you believe in, right? There's no shame in that. You know, if you've got something you want to have happen, make it happen and try your damnedest to make it happen. If you got to beg folks for money, if you got to beg them to let you have their space for free or for a discount, if you got to beg them to discount your t-shirts that you're going to sell, beg. But we can only beg if we believe in something. And we know the answers to those questions that we just talked about, right? Don't be afraid to borrow. Borrow ideas from other people of the ways, things that they've done in your town, in another college somewhere else, in their high school somewhere else, nonprofit in your area. Borrow that idea. Borrow their supplies. Right? If you want to do a popcorn sale in your lobby, don't necessarily go out and rent a popcorn maker. Find someone to let you
Use one,
use one, and borrow
yeah.
one. Right? Simple stuff. We don't think about it all the time because we think they're not going to let us use it. They're not going to let us steal that idea. Steal it. Now, I'm not saying actually steal money. Do not steal money. Do not steal property. But steal an idea. Right? That's okay. I mean, I wouldn't on my campus, I wouldn't let students have 2 bake sales a week or anything because now they're just going to be successful. So don't sabotage somebody else. But I mean, you're stealing an idea about that kind of thing. It's what happens in education all the time. So look around you. Y'all have something right now in high school and college that we didn't have called the internet.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy now to get on the internet and just pull up a school and pull up their website and say, what fundraisers are they doing? Right? Have any of you done this? You can find out so many fundraising ideas for colleges that look like yours. If you know that you're a small college or a small high school, Google small colleges, small high schools, and how they've done it. If you're a big one, look at how they've done it, because you'll get different ideas. And steal those ideas. Yes?
I get concerned about about the difference between begging and being persistent and being a pest, a nag, and not having good boundaries.
Right.
And because I don't want to make those social
Right.
errors,
Right.
I always am too conservative, which is why I don't have any money.
Right.
So I do not understand how where that line is.
Okay. Because this is something we'll talk about in a few minutes,
Okay.
I want to tie it in. I'm not going to answer that question today, but I want to tie it into my answer.
Okay.
So can you bring that back up
Yes.
toward the end?
Okay,
All
will
right.
do.
Put that on you because I might forget.
Okay.
That's on you.
I'm about to say something that
Yeah.
kind of goes with that. I think I'm the opposite. Like, as long as I get what I need,
Right.
I think I would push too much.
Right. And then you run the risk of not getting it the next time because they get it to that time and they're like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
I'm not ready for that again.
Right, right. So we'll have a conversation after a few more points that I want to be able to pull in. All right. I want to spend a few minutes brainstorming. This just means y'all are going to be a part of this conversation. What types of fundraisers have you done, or your groups have done if you're new to the group?
Joe said it. We did a silent auction. We got local stores and whatever to donate something, like the video game store donates to credit, and just different things. And people bid on it. We put it in our union in the student center, and that went pretty well. most of them, I think, only like paid for 2 things, and that was like a discount, so.
Okay. So did y'all hear that? Silent auction? Has any of your schools done this? Is that something that might work?
Yep.
When you think about fundraising, one of the things I challenge you to think about is low overhead, meaning low overhead costs. Remember I was telling you about the clock tower, and now we raised all that money without spending a dime? Because great fundraiser, right? You don't have much money out because you went to places and got things donated. You didn't ask them for money. A business can donate product much more easily than they can donate money. So if you go in asking for money, you're probably going to get told no. If you go in asking for product, in many instances they're going to say yes. So then you have to figure out how to turn that product into profit. And that's one way to do so.
Well, I have a suggestion, but I also have a question about that.
Okay.
I understand how you can ask people to donate product, but who do you ask? How do you find the person who's going to give you a real answer at a business?
Right. I always encourage folks to go to a local business. Getting product from big business is a pain in your ass and it's not worth your effort. I say that. There are exceptions to every rule, so we be clear, right? Like if you want to get a gift card from Walmart for a nonprofit or a fundraiser or something, they'll give it to you. Not everyone. They give a certain number a month to charities in their area. You have to know about 3 months out and do a bunch of paperwork. So you have to kind of think about that ahead of time and process it and do a lot of stuff. Find a local business. Find a local restaurant in your community. Find a local video game store. Find a local comic book store, whatever it is. The local people don't have the same kind of red tape. Ask for the manager or the owner to have that conversation.
Oh, and my suggestion was that we've always done bake sales or T-shirts. For T-shirts, we happen to know someone who could do it for free, so we didn't have any overhead costs, which was awesome. But that person left, so we don't have that anymore. But we did bake sales, and they were really successful. I mean, we made a lot of money, but what I realized after the fact is that we spent way more money than we made just making stuff. I mean, it was personal, like we each made something personally, but honestly, we could have pooled all the money together that we were going to bake stuff with and would have made more money.
Right. And one of my slides in a moment talks about friend raising. So remind me of your bake sale when we get to that slide. Yeah.
We're holding a rave, and we've held dances in the past to raise money. We usually don't raise it for personal costs. We usually like donate it, but we might have to keep this money. But like as long as you can pool like, or you find stuff like find people who have lights, find people who have speakers, and borrow them. But also make sure what you're doing is what people want. Like people would go to a rave. Like if it's at high school, everyone's gonna come to a rave. But you just have to figure out how to like either brand it or that sort of stuff.